today I'm going to give you some training on how to do Set E for kindergartners, and also it can be used for TK. So for this one, the kids are going to create an imaginary house. The supplies that you'll need for this project are oil pastels. So you grab them in these bins. Usually we try to bring 2 bins per table. So if you have 5 tables, bring 10 of these bins, and you carry them in the carriers into the classroom. Also, you'll need some hairspray cans, and so after the child creates their art using oil pastel crayons, we give them a very light spray of hairspray which sets the oil pastels. Otherwise they smear as they're being moved around with the other pictures. You're also going to need, your paper is going to be 10 by 16 inches. So to create this size, we take a large piece of construction paper and cut it down 2 inches on each side. So this has been cut down to this size. That way, for the art show, if the child chooses to use this picture, it can be mounted on the larger size construction paper easily with a 1-inch border. So before we begin this lesson, we do a little demonstration for the children to explain to them how they're going to come up with their imaginary houses. So for this one, we really want them to be imaginative and think of anything they can and really kind of make it crazy. So we don't want them all to look like regular houses. We want them to use their imagination. So perhaps they're going to create a cactus house in a desert, or maybe it's some kind of food. Maybe they're going to have an apple house, and the house looks like an apple with doors and windows. So we really want them to think about it and create something out of this world, something we haven't seen before. So let's do a demonstration. Let's say we're going to do the cactus house. So I'll get my oil pastels out and I'll show the children. I'm going to sketch a cactus. A cactus looks something like this. And again, you don't need to be too detailed in your demonstration. You just want the kids to get an idea of what they'll be doing. So maybe this is my cactus. They can use the sides of the oil pastels to color in, so you can show them that. That's one of the techniques. And then they can choose whatever colors they want for doors and windows. Make sure they add lots of details, so they might like to have curtains. Maybe there's a big chimney here with smoke coming out. In Art Vista, we always like them to fill up the whole page. So it's important not just to create the house, but to also do some background. Here is a door. And then maybe we're going to have some flowers. Maybe it's not in the desert, maybe it's in the jungle. Who knows? The kids can create whatever ideas they come up with. So make sure there's some nice background, really filling up the whole page. This is something that we're trying to instill in the kids early on, because always with Art Vista we have them fill up the whole page. So something like this would be one demonstration for the kids to get an idea how they're going to create it. It's also good to show them some samples of other work that's been done. So here's some samples you can hold up for the kids. This house is almost like a building. It has a car and a slide. So it's a good example of other details to show. This was a sketch that a docent did, putting a house in a tree. This sample shows a watermelon house, so that's a really creative idea, and that gives kids good ideas on what they can create. Here's another cactus house example, so kind of like the one that I created. So show the samples to the children, but before they begin, take the samples down, because you don't want them to copy the samples, which is something they may try to do. Also, make sure to have the child put their name on the back of the paper and flip it over and begin their work. You should have them all do that at the beginning to start, so that you're sure to be able to track whose is whose. And after the artwork is done, as I mentioned, you wanted to put a very light hairspray coating on it. So when I say light, it just is about this much. If there's areas that are darker and where they've colored more, maybe put a little bit more in that area. The hairspraying should be done outside of the classroom, and then you can bring them in and put them in the drying racks for a few minutes and then grab them all before you leave the classroom that day.